What's up guys, it is 11:11 and here is the guide I made for 2025. Now instead of speedrunning it like we always do, I find it to be more helpful, more efficient for you guys if I just made it into a list. Since it is more visual, it's going to be just more easier to navigate. You can just control find the IEM that you are looking for, so go check that out. As for the percentages, these are not what the actual sale numbers are. These are just a recommendation of how much the sale should be for an IEM to be worth it. That aside, let's break down the criterias in the rankings in the guide, starting with great. These are basically IEMs that were already very competitive, good for the value. You know, you got stuff like the Zen's Top Pro, you got the T Pro, the Horizon, the Super Mix 4. Here we're looking for around 10% off or more. It doesn't have to be a huge discount because they are already a very good value IEM, so any sort of sale would be very good because it just makes the value even better. As for IEMs under solid, we are looking for any sale number between 15% to 25% off. IEMs under solid are already well liked by a lot of people. They're well tuned, they're good for the price, but they're just not a value monster or like price leading like the IEMs under great. I have also bolded and commented on the IEMs that should be 25% off to be worth it on sale. For example, you got the Software Studio 4s, you got the RS5 Mark 1s, RS5 Mark 2s. Those three are all good sounding IEMs. It's just that they're a little bit pricey for what they're offering before the sale, so ideally around 20 to 25% off, and I have commented and bolded them so you can't really miss it. Then moving down to maybe, here we have IEMs that are not like super competitive at retail. They are okay for the sound, but they're just a little bit pricey. For example, you got IEMs like the Moondrop Condense, the Meteors, you have the Dunu, Titan S2, where you can find cheaper and better stuff like the Tangent for you at great or solid. So even though the tuning might be fun or even pretty enjoyable to some people, it's just that the value that they're offering at the price range before a steep sale is not very worth it. So here we're looking for at least 30% off, ideally 40 or even 50% off, because there is a premium tax on a lot of these IEMs that you can find for better and cheaper under solid and great. Price aside, some of the IEMs under maybe will also have a tuning that is more quirky, niche, and have a more acquired taste. Then lastly, we got the skip tier. So basically any IEM under here you should just avoid and not buy unless they're like 90% off, 80% off, like essentially free. You should not be buying these because there are just way better option even at maybe, of course at solid and great. For example, you have outdated IEMs like the original Moondrop Araya, the original Blessing, right? Unless you get a very steep discount like 80%, 70% off, I would just find better options. And then you have other, badly tuned IEMs like the early KZ stuff, the early CCA stuff, the early TRN stuff. And then lastly, you got the overpriced IEMs like the Moondrop Beautiful World, you got the Kanira stuff, and just very expensive stuff for no reason. Again, the list is based off of IEMs that I have heard before and that are currently on sale. For example, the Prestige, the Monarchs are not on sale, which is why they're not here. So if you don't see an IEM that or that you're looking for, it's most likely not on sale, or most likely I have not heard it yet. So just a heads up. Then lastly, we got some bundles from LINSOUL, and starting off with the EA FiberGel M and the LC7 bundle, these are going for around $146. The bundle is decent if you want both of them. The cable is very nice. It does match the IEM very nice, but I don't know if I would pay the same amount for the cable as for the IEM, right? So we're looking roughly around the same if you buy them individually on sale, which means that unless you want both of them, you should just buy the LM on its own and then just get another cable, or buy the cable and buy the actual IEM that you want, because you're not getting a huge discount versus just buying it on sale alone. As for the second bundle, we have the Tripoen Vivis and the Tripoen Zonies for around almost $50. Wow, okay, that is a lot of money because the Vivis on sale is around 20 bucks. So that makes the cable worth almost $30, which certainly does not worth $30. So for me, I would just buy the Vivis on its own on sale, and then if I really need a cable, I would just buy like a random cable off AliExpress for like 15-20 bucks, and you do have a lot more option when it comes to colorway if you buy individually. So this bundle, probably a skip. Then as for the third bundle, we have the Zigat Lunas and the Zigat Crescent, so double IEMs. Now, I don't know if you would buy the Crescent if you already have the Luna, and I don't know if you would buy the Lunas if you already have the Crescent, right? So like, I don't know the incentive behind buying both of them unless you're just collecting IEMs and you just want to hear that slight difference, right? The Luna is a warm, airy presentation. the Crescent is a warm, sparkly presentation, right? It's a small marginal difference. I don't know if I would buy both of them. Like, I would buy one or the other, unless again you are just deep into the hole. But for me personally, I think I'll just buy one IEM out of these two. Moving on, for the fourth bundle, we have the Punch Audio Martellos and the LINSOUL LC2 case. So the Martellos on its own is $330 retail, on sale around like $300 to $280 depending. The case alone is probably like $20. Unless you want a very sturdy case, like unless you're taking your IEMs on the go all the time, you're throwing it in your luggage, I think the stock case on your Martellos is good enough for like 90% of people out here. So like, if you can find the Martellos for cheaper than $280, I would just get the Martellos on its own. But if the Martellos is around the same price as this bundle, like, you know, $278, $280, $290 even, then obviously get the bundle, right? Moving on, for our fifth bundle, we have the Q-Ears Etude and the Tripoen foam tips. Okay, first of all, you shouldn't be using foam tips for a bass-centric IEM unless it's like a very energetic one, which the Etude is not. You should not be using foam tips because it does hurt the bass texture. So automatically, I would just avoid this bundle. It makes no sense. Second, the Etude is also on sale for around like 90 to like $100. So you're saving if you just buy the Etude on its own and then you buy like separate tips. For example, my recommendation for the Etude tip-wise would be the Asla Sennas, the Asla Origins. You have the Venus Velvets. You have these, you know, any silicone tips are gonna be better than the foam ones. So I would just skip this bundle. Then finally, we have the Q-Ears HBB Punch and the The Audio Elite Noir cable. So the Punch on its own is around $440 retail, on sale probably around $400. So you're paying for roughly a $80 premium after tax for the cable, which is okay. Like, the cable is a nice looking cable. I guess you can say it's an endgame cable, but like, if you're not looking for aesthetics, you don't care about the cable, the stock cable on the HBB Punch is enough. It's obviously not as nice as the Audio one, but if you don't care about aesthetics and the cable, just get the Punch on its own. If you do want a very nice cable, this bundle is actually okay. Aside from that, just, you know, look around on AliExpress, Amazon, LINSOUL, third-party stores, get the best deal that you can find. It's funny because I used to make videos stopping people from like overspending when it comes to sale season, but I realized that does not work at all because you guys can't control yourself and you just end up spending anyways. So instead of that, I made this list because at least now you can know what not to buy and not waste your money on, because you're gonna spend your money anyways. So at least now you know what to, you know, not buy. But thanks for watching, guys, and I will see everyone in the next one.
Shout out to Dom Q, Rox Cat, B Urac, Disco Scaldus, Walker Standard, Patrick, User, Contain Guava Juice Gains, Mr. Gorillas, Polly J, Gis Sang Young, Christopher Jackson, Henry Claudia, Son of a Horse, 777ZK, Wizard, Obi, Treble Extended, Frickalicious, Ricardo, Tapasar, Choco Norris, Shrimp Bacalet, Tomat, FKSRG, Cousin Fat Fat, Julius Phillip, Dead Riddle, Bilha, Nico, Addy, Michael, Trackstar, LL Here, Shuri, Ryan, Raphael, I am J-Rack, Ori, June, Hakase, Torcog, Affinity, EGC, Raj, Chimika, Javir, CB952, Galbog, Senadan, Brian Carson, AK131, MN Gelato, Wayu, Doichi, Mr. Combat, Robotic Sister, Vitor Kedge, Pornpaj, Varaya, Drewski, Edward, Alex, Kuna, Hussein, Brian, Robert, Polar, and Marcos. Thank you guys so much for the support.